Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video. Today's video, I'm going to be reading a script that I made for a Spider-Man 2, not necessarily a rewrite, but more of a how I would have done things. It's not a rewrite because I'm not rewriting the whole story, making a whole bunch of changes, but it's more so just adding more than anything. Some things are getting changed, some things are getting removed, but let's get into how I'm going to cover this. So in the game, there are three main themes that I would like to keep. There's the first theme, which is balance, which is something that I feel like they kind of got short-handed with, if I'm being honest. Like, they didn't really include that much, other than, like, you know, the Aunt May cutscene and that whole mission there. There wasn't really much balance in the game, in my opinion. So I'll make sure to get that more focused, and then the other two have a little bit more of a focus. The second theme is reformation, or however you want to put it, but basically the villains being reformed. I like that a lot, and I mean, they did really good with it, but I think they could take it just a little further, not too much, because I think they did really good with it either way, but there is like one thing that I have a problem with. And then the last one is revenge, which is supposed to be like the darker part of this game. And I feel like they do really good with Miles, but for Peter, it's kind of lacking. So the main rule I have for this rewrite is simple. I cannot remove any important plot lines. So for an example, Harry will continue to be Venom. I'm not gonna make it Eddie Brock. That's not gonna happen. The game set it up like that, so I'm gonna have it like that. Another one is Kraven will keep his personality. I'm not gonna make him more like the 1990s show. He's gonna stay brutal. You know what I mean? He's gonna stay like he's basically gonna stay like an awful person. Peter's symbiote arc will stay normal, meaning I'm not gonna change how the arc is done. It's still gonna be the aggressive Peter, yada yada, addiction, all that. You know what I mean? Miles' arc will also stay the same. The only time I will break this rule is once, but it is for a good reason. And if I'm being honest, it shouldn't even have happened in this game anyway. So it's not really going to be that missed. So yeah, like I said, the main thing I'm doing is adding stuff to the story and changing stuff that just doesn't make sense. The biggest thing, so basically, ideally, the biggest thing that this whole rewrite-ish thing is going to be is adding more length to the game. There's like not that much length to the game, and it severely hinders the story and stuff. So that's the rules. Let's get into it. Alright, so Act 1. So the first thing, so first things first, I guess I should say. Act 1, I really don't have too much of a problem with, but most of the changes are honestly kind of relating to helping the next two acts. So, I want to keep throughout the... Oh my god. Okay, let me not read this. Basically, I want Peter to stay working as a teacher. I don't want him to get fired at the beginning of the game. I think by the end of the game, I think he should quit to work on No. Nope, I lie. No. We'll keep the whole Peter taking a break from Spider-Man because he's gonna work as a teacher still throughout the whole game, but also he's gonna be working at EMF, or at least at the end of the game he's gonna be working to try and get EMF back up, which also want to point out a little weird thing that the game kind of does. Why is Miles not in school? Like it, because I think the game takes place in October, right? So, school, where is it? You know what I mean? It's like, but let's move on. But yeah, this would help the whole balance storyline, because again, he has to balance his teacher job, wanting to work at EMF, and getting the job, and it not lasting that long, and then the Spider-Man stuff. I feel like that would have been really good. So yeah. Okay, the first big addition that I have is villains, and what I mean is we're not killing off all the villains, but we will be using them in the story, because I feel like it actually makes sense to use them, and I'm kind of weirded out that they didn't, not gonna lie. Because I feel like the whole hunting, like Kraven the Hunter thing, doesn't really get utilized that much. Like, he really only hunts Lizard and Spider-Man in the game. Like, let's be real, like, that's the only two things he actually ends up hunting. Can't even say he hunted Venom, because, I mean, that was like one mission, and then there you go. But yeah, I want to use Scorpion, Electro, Shocker, Vulture, and Doc Ock as villains in this game, and I'll say why. Again, so the characters of Scorpion, Electro, Shocker, and Vulture will be used to have more missions where you are racing against hunters to save said villains, and either, they'll be chill, or you may have to fight the villain. So Scorpion, if you were, trying to race against hunters to save Scorpion, you're most likely going to have to fight Scorpion because he's an asshole. But Vulture, someone who's like Vulture, who's a little bit more chill, you could probably help him and he probably won't kill you. Because it allows for more boss fights, which I love the boss fights in this game. But also it gives, the story more length, and it also can help with another thing. And we'll get to that later. But Doc Ock, I want him in the game specifically for a certain reason. Because he will be crucial to Peter's story later, taking up a kind of Martin Lee role, from kind of like how Miles has Martin Lee. I want Peter to have that, but with Doc Ock, because if I have Doc Ock, and Peter's focused on getting Doc Ock also, or Peter's focused on getting Doc Ock, and then you have Miles focused on Martin Lee, it gives the two characters a reason to kind of not work together throughout the game. Kind of gives them a reason to be split apart for a lot of the game, rather than Peter just not talking to Miles basically at all. So at least there's a reason there. The next thing I'm changing is this mission right here in the background, the Black Cat mission. Simple as simple can be. The change is, it's not Miles, it's Peter. Literally that simple. I don't think people are going to disagree with that change at all. The next change I would make to this game is the Coney Island mission. I would have actually liked to see Miles stay with Ganke and Haley and have all 6 of the friend group kind of hang out together, because not only would it be cool to see them all hang out and meet each other, but also it's like an old generation, new generation type thing, you know what I mean? Like, it's there, but for some reason they did not take that opportunity to actually use that, you know what I mean? It's really weird, but I would have actually liked to see them all hang out. Oh, okay. Hold on, I was just reading the script. Alright, so another thing I would have loved to have seen is more missions with Agent Venom. Or Harry, as, you know, the Venom before Peter gets it. In case no one knows what that is, but I assume if you're watching this, then you will know who Agent Venom is. It's such a short-lasted thing that I feel like it needed a little bit more time. I'm not saying it was like going to be very crucial to the story, but it would have been nice to at least see him for a few more missions. It's kind of cool to see him team up with Peter. Maybe have a mission where he teams up with Miles. You know? Yeah, because I feel like the game kind of just rushes past it, you know? But let's go. Another mission that would have been great is if Kraven was chasing one of the villains, which is why I wanted to actually use the villains, and he would kill the villain, like, basically right in front of Peter. Like, Peter goes to try and stop him, and Kraven kills the villain, and Peter will feel guilty because, you know, he couldn't stop it in time, you know, stuff like that. And no, it's not going to be Scorpion. It's got to be someone like Shocker, because it's got to be someone that, you know, really isn't that bad of a person. You know what I mean? It's got to be like a basic villain. And Shocker is not that bad of a person compared to Scorpion, so I feel like it would make a lot more sense to use Shocker for that role. And it would give Peter more of a reason to kill Kraven with the black suit.
What's up with Felicia?
But
She's safe for now.
we'll talk about that later.
To Jonah. Wish me luck.
A very important thing that I would like to add to the story or change, depends on how you view it. I would want to actually mix the flame missions into the main story. One, their main story potential. Like, that is just straight up facts, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know why they're not in the main story, if I'm being honest with you. They make so much sense, especially with who they build up to. You know what I mean? It also just feels weird to leave Yuri's stuff in a side mission. You know what I mean? Let's be real. Those side missions are, like, they barely have any, like, connection to main story whatsoever. Like, most other side content you will find from a main mission, that is like the only one that you just don't. And it feels weird because it has like the most important shit out of any side content. So yeah, I would have added that to the main story. I would have also added a few more missions for Miles. I don't know exactly what it would have been. It just give him something to do, like tracking Mr. Negative. That's the thing. I haven't thought like fully through on level designs, but I do know that people would like to play as Miles a little bit more, especially if you're playing as Peter for like probably what would be 90% of the game with these changes. So not 90% of the game, that's a little much. It's more like 70 to 80. So I would like to give Miles a little bit more missions. It's just that it's hard, given what his story kind of is in this game, to actually give him more main missions that aren't just, oh, I'm tracking Martin Lee. You know what I mean? And lastly, for Act 1, pretty simple. Have Peter and Kraven have a longer boss fight before Peter gets absolutely wrecked. Like, if you're gonna kill Peter and then have the symbiote, you know, heal him, at least have Peter put up a fight. You know what I mean? Like, I'm fine with him. I'm fine with him, like, getting stabbed the way he was. But it's like, they could have at least put up more of a fight before doing that. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. So let's move on to Act 2. Alright, so Act 2, the first thing we need is more symbiote suit missions and black suit missions. Both of those suits are still pretty short lasted compared to how I feel they should be, done, so yeah. Another thing is, make the combat different. I don't know why the black suit has the same exact combat as regular Spider-Man, but it kind of sucks that it does. They should have went all out with it, but they didn't. Very disappointing, but that's alright. Again, we're already gonna just put it this way, Miles would get more missions. Simple as that. Another thing I would add is a few more missions where the symbiote goes feral, like in the wake up mission. You know the one where MJ tries to wake up Peter and he's going feral over these hunters. You know, like that kind of stuff would have been a lot more cool. Like they could have continued it, like they could have added another mission before he woke up on the bench. Because it's like a very weird transition. It feels like there was supposed to be more there, but they just didn't do anything. So it would have been cool to have more like that. It also would have given Peter more of a reason to get the suit off when he comes to his senses. Another thing is, we're keeping the meteorite in Act 2, but we're not going to focus on it too much. I'll explain that later. After Martin Li's boss fight, I would like to add another mission where Peter will fight Doc Ock. And again, I chose Doc Ock because from my point of view, it makes more sense for Peter to want to kill Doc Ock than it does Kraven. Because Doc Ock is literally the reason Aunt May died. And, you know, that's the thing about the symbiote that you know, is amplifying Peter's emotions. And you know, Peter's gone through hell basically, and I mean, he lost his Aunt May, so he would want to kill Doc Ock, and it would make for an emotional mission where Peter is like about to kill him, and then obviously Miles will stop Peter from doing that. And it leads into Miles versus Peter. And this mission would change a little bit too. Because I would add, instead of it being 3 phases, it would be 6. 3 phases where you are playing as Miles Morales fighting Peter. And 3 phases where you play as Peter fighting Peter. Or fighting the symbiote more so. Because it'd be like a spectacular Spider-Man type situation where he'd be kind of like, it'd be like in his head, Peter is fighting symbiote suit Spider-Man, you know what I mean? It'd be cool to see that, and it kind of it switches between each phase. So like you do Miles versus Peter, Peter versus Peter, or Peter versus the symbiote. Sorry, keep saying that, I don't know why, but it would have been cool to show that struggle that Peter's having, because it really doesn't feel like Peter's struggling that much, if I'm being honest. I think that would have went a long way with showing that struggle. It would also be cool to have the detail of like, if when you're fighting the symbiote as Peter in his head, you can hear Miles kind of like talking, trying to get Peter to snap out of it and shit. That would have been cool. You know, it shows that, you know, they're both really trying to get this suit off of him. Get the symbiote off of him. So that would obviously change the next mission, which the next mission would be Peter and Miles will fight Kraven together. You have Peter back in his red and blues, and you have Miles. They're gonna both fight Kraven together. And Kraven would still be alive. That's still gonna stay, obviously. It would make more sense that he's kind of alive. The only difference is, I would probably have Kraven be put in a truck to be sent to the raft, which it's not gonna make that much of a difference, trust me, but it's more so I'm changing the first Act 3 mission, but a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. But, yeah, let's get to Act 3 then. Okay. So for Act 3, the first mission will play out very similar, except, I mean, like, as in you're going to be playing as Venom, but the difference is Norman's not going to be at Oscorp when Harry turns into Venom. I want to save something for later, because I am, like, this is going to be the one with the act with the most changes. So, yeah. So, the first thing I'm going to change about Act 3 is obviously Venom's going to be the focus. There will be other symbiotes, but it's not going to be the level of how the game did it. And none of them will be named. The only named symbiote that we're going to have is Venom. That's it. And, I mean, technically, Carnage, but, you know, not like Venom. Another thing I would do is wait longer to give the Sonic upgrade. It's really weird that they just kind of introduce it in the second, not even the second mission, the first mission that you fight symbiotes. It's like the first mission you fight symbiotes. Here you go. Here's their weakness. There you go. You can use it. If like I want the people that at least struggle a little bit first. You know, really want to earn the upgrades necessary to make the enemies easier.
Hey Miles, thank you.
Guys, this is my best friend Harry.
Alright, so I would keep MJ. I would keep MJ getting infected by a symbiote, but it will not be Scream. Because I feel like it's a waste of that character to use her there.
Figure it out.
Because I feel like it would make more sense for a Venom game. Just gonna put that there. That's really as simple as it's gonna be. So it's still gonna be, she's still gonna get taken over by a symbiote, it's just not gonna be Scream. Also, Peter's not gonna get destroyed by a fridge. And he is also going to try and attack Venom when he tries to hurt MJ.
We should really check in on Miles. Make sure he's okay.
I would add a few more missions of Peter and Miles trying to stop Venom from ruining their lives. Because obviously they betrayed, to the symbiote, they betrayed him. So it makes sense that he would try to ruin their lives and stop him from killing criminals. That's another thing. Venom is not going to kill random people. It doesn't make sense, especially because it's also Harry controlling the symbiote, so you do have to remember that. So it is like different, kind of different, you know what I mean? So really he'd just be going around trying to be basically a better Spider-Man, or prove to be a better Spider-Man, but also, you know, ruin Peter and Miles' lives. Not trying to expose them, but, you know, getting in the way of their lives, you know. Instead of the City Hall mission, I would replace it with the Daily Bugle, which, in case if you don't know, that was actually there's concept art from a cut mission that was supposed to take place in the Daily Bugle. Don't know how it was gonna play out, but there was one. But I also prefer this. But basically, Peter and Miles will go there to stop symbiotes and Venom from getting inside and, you know, turning people into symbiotes. Peter and Miles get overrun. Same thing with the City Hall mission. And Martin Lee will show up to help them with his power. And maybe I would let people play as him. But Peter and Miles would go after Venom while Martin Lee fights the symbiotes. Venom goes to Norman's penthouse. So this is taking place, this mission right here is about to take place of the one mission that's just a quick cutscene where Venom puts the meteorite together. So instead, Venom is going to go to Norman's penthouse to confront him, and Peter makes it just in time to save Norman and Connors. The rest plays out the same. Connors tells him he needs to kill the host. Norman begs for him to save his son. And to explain why I removed the meteorite from the story and a lot of symbiotes is because I don't see Venom as the kind of character to put the meteorite together. I feel like it's, you know, wasted if Venom does it, and I feel like
Dolphin racing.
that honor of putting the meteorite together should go to Carnage. It makes more sense, he seems more likely to do it, and it fits his whole prophecy shit. And it could also be used for a Venom game,
I think I'll go see if that
which would include the other Life Foundation symbiotes, so yeah. Alright, so the last mission does not have MJ.
Glad he's doing
MJ can go to hell.
killing it at the
She is not gonna show up. I don't want her. She doesn't need to be there.
helping people.
It's as simple as that.
more people than you realize.
Miles and Peter still fight Venom together, or still fight Venom, but except this time they're gonna do it together. So kind of like in the team up missions,
Coming through.
you'll play as Peter, and Miles's AI will be there to help. Missed opportunity that never happened in any boss fight. I don't know why. They never use that for a boss fight. It's kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie. This time Peter will not kill Harry though. He will send him into a coma. I removed the killing and bringing back of Harry because it feels kind of stupid and just there to have some emotional impact. So instead I decided to end it where Harry is just in a coma instead, because it still will have emotional impact, but it's not just doing something and then just taking it back right away. You know what I mean? It's really weird. I know they did it to show off Miles's like electricity powers, but it's like
Or maybe that
you just like it's like one of those situations where like you kill off a character and then you just bring them back immediately after. It's like then you just didn't need to do that. You know what I mean?
what is this thing reading anyway? Our body temperature?
Or our skin's pH.
Highly
And I mean, it still would keep the stakes of, you know, Norman turning into Green Goblin, obviously. Like, that's the thing. It just feels very weird to take a character, kill them, bring them back like a minute later.
Come on, you two lovebirds. Got more
It's
fun
like,
to explore.
why? You didn't need to kill them in the first place. Alright, so that was my Spider-Man 2 kind of rewrite. Thank y'all for watching. I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.